tonight's Oregon Luncheon. We've changed the name a bit, refreshed the look a lot, but one thing hasn't changed: the importance of business leaders throughout our community standing up for equality and standing up for LGBTQ Oregonians. Today's event will feature an organizational update from Executive Director Nancy Hawk, the presentation of our 2020 Oregonians for Equality Business Leaders Awards, a performance by Storm Large, and raising money for the Kathleen C.O.A.T Leadership Fund, a newly created fund for LGBTQ Black Oregonians, which Nancy will explain more about in just a couple of minutes. You can see the text to give info below. Just text OFE 2020 to 44-321 and join us today as we continue to center racial justice within the LGBTQ community and build this fund. And when you make a gift, you'll be entered to win one of the 5 raffle prizes, gift cards to Amalfi's, Epif, Mother's Bistro, Tiffin Asha, or a case of Brew Dr. Kombucha. I want to take this moment to thank our Equality Circle sponsors: JP Morgan Chase, TriMet, New Seasons Market, Intel, and Cambia Health Solutions. And next up, our Justice Circle sponsors: Stoll Reeves, Pacific Power, Nike, The Standard, Lane Powell, Port of Portland, and Comcast. Thank you for your incredible support of our work. I'm proud to pass it on to one of our state's true equality champions, Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici, to help kick off our event.
And at the same time, the pandemic has exacerbated and highlighted disparities for Black people, people of color, and put a spotlight on institutional racism. Institutional racism and police brutality have led to violence and more deaths than we can count, and this has affected the Black trans community immeasurably. I think about people like Ayana Dior, a Black transgender woman beat by a mob outside of a store in Minneapolis just last week. This endemic racism has caused Black Americans to live in fear and to wonder if an encounter with law enforcement will be fatal. And we've heard too many stories about incidents like what happened to Christian Cooper, a Black gay man who was bird watching in Central Park when a white woman called the police to report being threatened by an African-American man. Basic Rights Oregon and honorees today have made it their work to never remain silent in the face of injustice. Basic Rights Oregon has been a leader nationally in understanding the intersections of LGBTQ equality and racial justice. And Basic Rights Oregon has made it a priority to educate members, all of us, about this intersectionality. Basic Rights Oregon has been mindful, strategic, and focused on centering the voices and experiences of LGBTQ people of color through leadership development, intentional work to become an anti-racist organization, coalition building, and more. That's real leadership that has been recognized nationally. Despite the time that we're living in, one that is full of heartbreak, loss, and anger, people are taking action. There is a growing movement demanding change and demanding accountability. Across the state and the nation, people are holding vigils and marches and protests. They're listening and they're learning. And they're figuring out how to do the work. Work like Basic Rights Oregon has been leading for years. This moment that is so full of heartbreak, loss, and anger is also full of solidarity and hope. Time is overdue for all of us to engage, to look at the leadership of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color and show that support to join the fight for equality. In Congress, I will continue this fight. I'm proud to help pass the Equality Act through the House, and I will never let up on Betsy DeVos and the Department of Education for their betrayal of transgender students. In the days and weeks that follow, the House will take action on the Justice in Policing Act, comprehensive legislation to overhaul policing in the United States. I'm proud to support that bill and other efforts, including Representative Ayanna Pressley's resolution condemning all acts of police brutality, racial profiling, and excessive use of force, and calling for reform. I will never stop fighting along with you for justice and equality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman, for your leadership in Oregon. We'll now hear from another powerful Oregon leader and one of only 2 women of color to lead the LGBTQ advocacy organization in the country, Basic Rights Oregon's Executive Director, Nancy Hawk.
Thank you so much, Jewel, for that wonderful introduction. I'm Nancy Hawk, the Executive Director of Basic Rights Oregon, and I want to welcome everyone to our new virtual Oregonians for Equality Luncheon. And I want to extend a heartfelt congratulations to our award recipients, Cambia Health Systems and DeVal Solorzano and C.O.A.T Flagging. Thank you for all of your good work, and thank you, Congresswoman Bonamici, and to all the elected officials who are with us today. And a very special thank you to Happy Lucky Design Agency for donating all their time and talent for our luncheon redesign and then a redesign due to COVID. So we would normally all be sitting in the middle of the Oregon Convention Center, enjoying one another's company, wearing clothes with a lot of buttons and zippers, and having a wonderful lunch together. But these are not normal times. And I'll just speak my truth. That it's been hard to know what to say today. What do you say when your heart feels broken? What do you say when systemic racism and injustice have been laid bare? What do you say when you try to sleep, but all you can think of is George Floyd calling for his mama with his dying breath? All I can say is this: as LGBTQ people, we know what it's like to fight for systemic change. We know what it's like to fight for our rights. We know what it's like to have to ask other people to see our humanity enough to recognize our relationships, our genders, as real and valid and worthy. And it's with this knowledge that we have to be part of the change. We have to put fighting racism and ending white supremacy at the core of what we do. It is not enough to just say Black Lives Matter if we are not doing the work to make change within ourselves, within our families, in our businesses, and in the systems that dictate our lives. We have to be part of the movement that's happening in this country that's saying the time is now, enough is enough, and we won't tolerate one more person killed for the color of their skin. And I know that this isn't the work of a day or a week. This is the work of lifetimes. But as the longest journey starts with a single step, let's take that step. Let's figure out how we are speaking up and speaking out. And if we have learned anything from being in a global pandemic, it's that what was once unimaginable can quickly become your new reality. Before the pandemic, I couldn't have imagined that I would be hosting a weekly queer town hall from my bedroom. I couldn't have imagined that we would be telling our supporters where they can find their nearest food pantry, or how to support LGBTQ youth who lost their support system when they could no longer go to school, or having to say to transgender people who may have been waiting months or years or even their whole life for gender-affirming surgery, I'm so sorry, but you have to wait even a little longer. Or that when we sent out a survey asking, how are you? So many would respond, I could really use some help right now. It takes a lot of bravery to ask for that help, and I've been amazed by the hard work and tenacity of the BRO staff who've been doing everything in our power to answer that call. And like many of you, I've been thinking, how can I, as a non-Black person, be of better service to the Black community? As the leader of BRO, what resources do I have? Well, the main resource I have is you, the people who have supported us for the last 25 years. So I'd like to announce that today, every dollar we raise will go to a new fund for Black LGBTQ Oregonians, the Kathleen C.O.A.T Leadership Fund. For those who don't know Kathleen C.O.A.T, you should. She pioneered intersectional organizing in Portland. Graduating from Reed College in 1974, she has been a movement leader for the Black, LGBTQ, and women's movements in Oregon for more than 45 years. She helped plan Portland's first gay rights march in 1976. She spearheaded the state government's affirmative action agenda in the 80s. She took a lead role in the campaign against Measure 9 in 1992, and in 2015 led the oversight of police amid a public outcry over police violence and racism. She's had so many roles and still had the energy and tenacity to release her first jazz album at the age of 77. I had the honor to be at that concert and was inspired by her voice. She said, "I don't think you're one thing alone. I think you're a combination of a lot of things, and those things support or feed or detract from who you are in life." So let's lift up Kathleen C.O.A.T and raise lots of money for her leadership fund. I know she's at home watching today. This fund will give money directly to Black LGBTQ Oregonians who want to take the next step in their personal leadership journey. Whether it's taking a class or applying for a business license or buying supplies to put on a community event or running a bus to take to the state capitol. Thank you for your support today. Thank you for your support for the last 25 years. And thank you for your support as we keep moving forward, as we keep fighting for equality and racial justice. And before I hand it off to Jewel, I just have to say a sincere thank you to our sponsors. You truly make our work possible. And to all the LGBTQ people who are watching this, please know, we see you, we love you, and we will never stop fighting for you. And now back to Jewel. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for your leadership now and into the future. Folks, I'm happy to announce that we have $15,000 in matching funds available today, and every gift made today will help create the Kathleen C.O.A.T Leadership Fund. It looks like donations are already rolling in. A huge thanks to Lon and Chris Staub, Brooke Shelley, Jim Hess, Dennis Johnson, and Steve Smith and Diana Bailey. All right, let's get started with the awards presentation. Cambia Health Solutions is our first awardee of the day. Earlier this year, Basic Rights Oregon received a call from Tristan Reese, a close friend of our organization and a trans community leader, and he suggested that we check out the great work they were doing around training and support for their staff and customers. Once we did some digging, it absolutely made sense that they would be chosen as an honoree today. Let's learn more about why.
When I first started at Cambia, I was really excited because I come from an employer where using my pronouns was a huge barrier. And during my interview process and conversations I had had before starting, I was hopeful that this was going to be a totally different environment. What I quickly realized was that although everyone in Portland thinks that using they, them pronouns is pretty easy, it's really hard. And that was what I very quickly learned, was that even in Portland, using they, them pronouns is not normal. After about 9 months of working at Cambia, I realized that constantly being misgendered was not something that I was able to continue having happen. And so we brought in a Trans 101 educator, and that, along with my boss sending out an email to all of my colleagues saying, you know what Max wants for their birthday? They want you to use their pronouns, and here's how to do it. And if you have questions, you can either talk to me or you can go talk to HR. And really, the combination of those two things was what shifted.
My name is Meredith Mello. I use she, her, and hers. At Cambia, I am a software development engineer, level 2, which is pretty cool. Early last year, in 2019, I had finally come out to myself and decided it was time to come out at work. And I was pretty scared initially. I had some friends in the Pride ERG. Eventually I did talk to Max and organized a very clever thing with HR where I was gone for around a day right before the weekend. And my boss talked to my whole team, made sure when I came back on Monday, everything was smooth. It's like nothing has changed in a very pleasant way, if that makes any sense.
One of the things that I've done while at Cambia was to advocate to get a gender-neutral multi-stall bathroom on my floor. And then I was also able to talk to our head of employee experience to say, this is why this is important. This is why we need to be having a gender-neutral bathroom, because right now, I am having to stop drinking water so that I have a safe place to pee. And being able to share that story and be able to tell the entire company of like why this is important. And it's so different when you have people who are having this directly impact them be brought to the table, because not only does it change the dynamic, it's not just for this mythical person to be able to have this, it's actually for an individual that you know with and you can build that empathy with.
I am the Chief of Customer Experience and Operations. I've always operated in this space because complicated healthcare has been kind of interesting to me, and certain companies have done it better than others. And as I think about what Cambia is focused on, they really have dedicated time and energy to making our world a bit more seamless. And I think that initially you learn internally with your own staff. You certainly understand the different needs of your population, because if your population is as diverse as Cambia's, then that means that there are different needs within those groups. And so how do you set up those right programs to demonstrate that inclusivity? How do you change some of your processes, again, to make it easy to access? And then you certainly learn. We're not perfect. We don't have it exactly right, but I want us to have a proactive view of how we look at our internal population, learn the approach, the processes, and the things that are needed to, again, impact the external world.
It's incredible to see a company that is willing to learn and listen and make the change necessary to support all of their staff. To accept the award today, I'd like to welcome Kayla Norman from Cambia Health Solutions.
Thank you so much. I am honored to accept this award on behalf of Cambia Health Solutions, a total health solutions company dedicated to making the healthcare system more person-focused and economically sustainable for all. As you just watched, this acknowledgement is a testament to our company's commitment to a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace by listening to, learning from, and empowering our employees. We believe our ability as a company to grow and thrive comes from our understanding and reflecting on the needs of those we serve. And we know each of us has a role to play in acknowledging and dismantling systematic injustice. By providing opportunities and a platform for the voices of people with diverse talents, skills, backgrounds, and abilities to be heard, we enable our team members not only to contribute to the success of our organization, but also assist in our goal of transforming healthcare from the inside out. Thank you to Basic Rights Oregon for this tremendous recognition and for their continued efforts to ensure that all LGBTQ Oregonians live free from discrimination and are treated with dignity and respect in every community in our state. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Cumbia, for your leadership and support. Next up, we have a small business owner who's a staple at LGBTQ community events, consistently well-dressed and with a smile on her face, a leader in our state and a woman whose story is an inspirational reminder to all of us that if there isn't a seat at the table, you build your own damn table. I welcome you all and congratulating our second honoree today, Val Solorzano and Coat Flagging.
I grew up in California, in the Bay Area until my parents divorced. Then we moved to Woodland, which is just north of Sacramento. We were on the wrong side of the tracks. We were the welfare kids. Coming out at 17 was not a good thing in '83 to my older brothers or my mother, who was dying of cancer at the time. So I ran away. I came up here at 17, lived at YWCA for, wow, getting emotional now. 2 years or 2 weeks, and then I got a job and found a place and found some really cool people who made me part of the family. No questions asked. So this amazing woman, Danny, opened her door. Here I was standing there asking to rent an apartment, and she did. I remind you, it was '83, a long time ago. I was brown, gay, and alone. So she showed me what love was about. And so I was very fortunate. So I was doing this home little renovation project by myself, working for people, honey-do list. And a phone call came across my desk one day and said, hey, there's a new project starting. What about starting a traffic control company? Speed up from there. And I think I have like 70 employees in Portland at peak, probably 50 up in Washington at peak. So this little company that started by myself, and once again, is now huge. Before owning my own business in my prior work history, there were times that I felt like I was being overlooked for promotions due to the fact that I was brown or a woman or actually it's and. All those are ands. And because I was a woman and I was gay and I was brown. Yeah, there was definitely some discrimination along the way.
I am super proud to work for Val. I actually brag about it. I still have a lot of friends who work for various companies in the construction world. And I'm like, oh yeah, I work for C.O.A.T flagging.
I am proud of Val because Val, well, she's kind of come from nothing, so to speak. She pushes herself all the time. She wants to do a good job for whatever she's doing. It doesn't matter. She's a real sweetheart of a person. She really is. But then I guess it's because I know her so well.
It definitely makes me proud to work for somebody who, probably has less advantages in the world. She's got pretty much everything going against her.
I call myself a little billy goat some days because I think if I look back, climbing that mountain was pretty damn hard. But now I get to sit on top of the hill and I'm like, it's pretty damn cool up here. But I never forget where I came from. I think Basic Right Oregon has shaped Oregon to be this incredible little bubble, as I call it, because we live in the Northwest. And this is my bubble that I live in. We're the model for other states to be like us. Anybody can be whatever they want to be because Basic Right has fought for that right here in Oregon.
I'd like to turn it over now to Val.
Oh, can you hear me now? Here we go. Sorry. Technology. I will open with the line from Elton John's song, Friends. If your friends are there, then everything's all right. I've been blessed with many good friends who stood by me. When I've fallen, they stood me back up and brushed me off without questions. Many of them I call family. They allow me to be me. I'd like to thank my staff, everyone from the boots in the streets to office people to the warehouse. They all work together to make this company an amazing little place. We don't care who you are. We just want you to be happy and love whoever you want. That's what makes it so special. And I'm so honored to be their leader, and they believe in me. Without them, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. From the bottom of my heart, I give a huge thanks to each one of you. Okay, quit crying. One last thanks to Basic Rights for all you've done over the years. No matter color, sexual orientation, or gender, you've made this place an awesome place to live. And I'm so honored to call it my home. So thank you for recognizing us today. Have a great day.
Thank you to Val for everything you do to make Oregon great. And I've just been holding back my own set of tears. I'm now excited to turn your attention to the story of Cambia Health Solutions employee, a member of Catalyst, our transgender leadership cohort, and fierce advocate, Max Western.
I grew up in West Valley City, Utah, which is a suburb of Salt Lake. I came from a family of 3 kids total. I'm the youngest. We grew up Mormon. Growing up, I knew that I wanted to be a boy when I was 4. And I remember very vividly thinking about the fact that, I wanted to have a sex change when I was older. And never really clicked with my family. Like that never, somehow my parents, even to this, until I came out and said like, yeah, here are the things. They never knew, and they had no idea that I was suicidal, that I constantly contemplated suicide, even from the ages of 4, 5, 6. When I finally came out as trans about 2 years ago to my family, everyone was like, you have just seemed happier. So soon after moving to Portland, I started using they, them pronouns with friends. I have gone through different points in time where I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter if people don't use my pronouns. And it's not that big of a deal. And trying to play the part of like, I don't want to be seen as difficult. Because oftentimes when you use they, them pronouns or pronouns that aren't traditional, he or she pronouns, you are seen as difficult. And so for me, when I've gone through those times where I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter at work that people are misgendering me, what I found is that it actually takes a serious toll on my mental health. And it became this huge conversation, and it's emotional. There's no way for it not to be emotional. Not everyone fits into a male and female box, and that's okay. What I see Basic Rights Oregon doing is really being a leader across the country for supporting the rights of the marginalized LGBTQ community. And I think it's really obvious when you look at the programs that they're supporting of the CUNY-POC and the Catalyst. So Catalyst is a program that brings people from very diverse backgrounds together in order to help develop leadership skills for us to become change agents and be able to advocate for the work that needs to be done, and also learn how to have difficult conversations and learn how to support one another and learn about the differences within the community and where those needs and gaps are. And so one of the big things that I've started learning from the Catalyst program is this intersectionality that we're having in these conversations that we have at our retreats. The work that Basic Rights does is really creating those opportunities and creating those experiences for youth, and the fact that it is legally required to use kids' pronouns in school makes a huge difference, and that is the work that Basic Rights has been doing, and I'm envious of those kids to have that upbringing and have those experiences.
Friends, it's my honor to introduce Max Western.
Thank you, Jewel, and thank you all for being here and hearing my story. I am one of the many stories of people who have benefited from the work that Basic Rights Oregon does. One of the most powerful things I learned during Catalyst was the privilege that I have as a white person and the duty that I have to center and uplift the voices of my trans siblings of color. I cannot say enough about the experience that I had being part of that cohort and learning about what it means to really have white privilege and how I can support the rest of the trans community, and especially the trans community of color. I am so proud that this fund is being created and proud to support Basic Rights, and proud to see how powerful our movement can be when we collectively stand up to hate and stand with one another. So I want to urge you all to give generously today to the Kathleen Sadat Leadership Fund to make sure that we invest in Black lives and Black voices within our community.
Thank you, Max, for those very powerful words. And thank all of you for joining here today. We want to thank also donors Shane Devins, Diane Goodwin, Kirk Mogg, Chris Elliott, Alita Brenner, Tim Keller, Vanessa Usui for leadership gifts as well. Wow, what an amazing update to see all of those names and donations coming in. Thank you all for your incredible generosity. It's now my honor to introduce the incredible Storm Large.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, good. This is all technology. I'm kind of a Luddite. It's my honor to be here with my partner, James Beaton, for Basic Rights Oregon. This is a challenging time. Before I was coming here, I was listening to the last service of George Floyd. And we're all in this. We are all in this fight. It's human rights and a right to hope, a right to a future. And I'm going to try my best to not get snotty and start crying so I sound decent. I know y'all don't mind, your family, but I'm going to try to get through these three with a little announcement at the end. God bless. Thank you. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom that me. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. And when broken-hearted people living in a world of greed, there will be an answer. Let it be. Oh, they be parted. There is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Yeah, Jammer. Get it? Cloudy, there is still light that shines on me. Please shine until tomorrow. Let it be. Oh, I wake up to the sound of music. Memory comes to me. Oh, speaking words of wisdom. Oh, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. These words of wisdom. Let it be. Oh, yes, let it be. Oh, let it be. Let it be. Oh, whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Don't look at me. Oh, thank you. I'm on James' back porch, making a nuisance of myself. I want to dedicate this next song. This is a song about grieving, about losing a mother, and the magic that I experienced at her bedside. Not my mother, my mom substitute, a woman who loved me, took care of me. Oh my God! Come on! Sorry. And I want to dedicate this to George Floyd and his family because his little girl was right. Her daddy changed the world. When it was time for George Floyd to come here to Earth to teach us all, he said, God, choose me. I will do this. I will do this. And he's with his mother now. Am I alive? Is that me breathing? Or is that just you in my ear? Oh, I admit this feels alright, even though I know I'm leaving tonight, driving headlong into those headlights. Be still my beating heart and take me home. I will sleep on your shoulder while you drive. Baby, I see angels in gas stations, and God is every damn where tonight. Every damn way, yeah, oh. Oh, are these my sheets, or am I reclining with you in the back seat of your car? Oh man, it's just like that scene in a million movies. In the rain, you'll take my hand, we run across the street. Be still my beating heart and take me home. I will sleep on your shoulder while you drive. Baby, I've seen angels in gas stations. Oh, and God is every damn where tonight. Every damn way. Oh, hold me while I sleep. Oh, la la la, yeah, la la la, hey, 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 oh, ooh, ooh. Oh, be still my beating heart and take me home. I will sleep on your shoulder while you drive. Baby, I've seen angels in gas stations. Oh, when God is every damn where, God is every damn where. Be still my beating heart and take me home. I will sleep on your shoulder. I'll sleep on your shoulder while you drive. I have seen angels in gas stations, and God is every damn where tonight. She is every damn where tonight. I got one more song, and I actually originally, oh, thank you. They're not calling the cops. It's all good. I wrote this song for Basic Rights Oregon, I guess more than 10 years ago. Juan and Byron sat me down when Juan was in charge, Juan Martinez, and said, hey, we need a song. Could you write a love song for the right to marry, for marriage equality? And I was like, ooh. And part of me was like, that's, dude, this any minute, someone's going to come up with a, Queer Eye for the Straight wedding or something, my big gay wedding, and it's going to be a show and everyone's going to get over it. And I'll tell you, my least favorite emotion is being wrong. So let me just get that right out of the way. And so then I was daunted with the task of writing a song for something so huge. It's something so important and something that is so curiously fought. Love. So curiously fought. As if love is a scarcity. Love can only be for one kind of person. Where love is everything. Love is the flower asking the sun to open it. Love is the rain washing all the crazy pollen out and into the ground, making more beautiful life in this beautiful, beautiful world. There's more love than we could ever need. And so I asked the question of love. I was like, man, everybody wants you. Everybody wants you, needs you, asks and prays and begs and bargains. Please, love, touch my life. And then I just had this one thought. What does love want? We're always asking for love, and what can love bring us and do for us? And love just sits there and says, all I would want to ask of you, all I'd ever want from any human. And this is where the song came from when I asked the question. But before I sing it, I didn't realize there was a Kathleen C.O.A.T Leadership Award. And I'm going to pledge $1,000 to that myself. And whenever y'all were going to pay me, I don't want to be paid. I don't know if I've ever been paid for singing truth and love and trying to heal, because what's good for me is good for everybody. We have a loving world, and Kathleen is my touchstone. And she channels my rage into direction, into action, with love, with strength, but with grace. Kathleen, I don't know if you hear me or watch me, you're probably like, oh my God, shush. I love you so much. And anything in your name is in all of our names. Mama, this is for you. Stand up for me, and we'll stand together. I'm the sky above you. Oh, I love you, everyone. Stand up for me, for your great grandmother, for your father, brother, and each other. Oh, and everyone. And be the light, be the answer, be the music in the dark. Stand up for me, and I'll stand beside you. I'm the light that guides you from inside you and everyone. beside you. I am the light that guides you from inside you. Everyone and everyone and everyone. God bless you. I love you all so much. James and I are donating whatever we were going to get paid back to Kathleen. I'm pledging 1,000 of my own dollars. I love you all so much, and it's an honor to be invited into this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Storm. Thank you all for your participation today. We're so thankful you could be with us today. And don't forget, you can still donate by texting OFE 2020 to 44-321. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.